and welcome back to another episode of the Practice Players Podcast. It's going to be a fun one here, joined by good friend, even better player, Mr. Bowen Hardman. Appreciate you coming on, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very fun one. Got a fun little NBA predictions at the end for you guys with the season rolling around in, about a week and a half here.
It's true.
But just to get it started, Bowen, if you just want to explain to the viewers, sort of your journey, where you come from and how you ended up playing for Ohio State.
Definitely, yeah. So I was a pretty good recruited kid coming out of high school. I was from Cincinnati. I went to Princeton High School. Um, I always grew up playing basketball, watching Ohio State, and all I did is kind of like just stay in the gym. That was the biggest thing. But watching the games and kind of like going through practices and stuff like that, just wanting to be the best version of myself possible. And playing in college, I think, was kind of like my main goal. And coming to Ohio State was like something that I fulfilled, and getting to that next level. But no, yeah, I'm just off of the basketball court. I'm a normal guy, just living in this life, having fun, and just enjoying playing the game.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd define you as normal. I'd probably put a different word on it. But
Yeah.
you obviously talked about being from Cincinnati, being from Ohio, and now that you're here repping the scarlet and gray with that beautiful script Ohio across your chest, what does
Yes.
it mean to you as an Ohio kid playing for the Ohio State University?
Man, it means the world. I think, like I said, before, I think it's every kid's dream that's from Ohio to play for Ohio State, especially nowadays because you see how top tier. I mean, Ohio State's always been a top tier, basketball school, but it's mainly known for football. But to see the jumps that have been made these last, couple years, you know what I mean? His it's been surreal, and just to grow up and to see that and to be here now is very humbling. It takes a lot of work, but at the same time, it's a huge blessing. We get to see things that not every person gets to see, or not every opportunity that normal basketball players get to get, and it's just very surreal, and I'm very blessed.
Bowen, I know you've had a very young college career so far. I know you're a young player, but so far in your college career, what's your favorite basketball memory that you've had?
Man, there's been a lot of really good memories. I think Dave Diddy can talk on that, but I would definitely say probably in the Big Ten tournament last year. I think that was one of my favorites because you get to, like, not everyone gets to see like what's behind closed doors of just playing games. I mean, every single one, all you guys know that. I mean, it takes so much to play 3 or 4 games in a span of 5 days, especially in the Big Ten, which, I'm biased. I believe it is the most physical. I mean, I think it's proven that it's one of the most physical leagues out there. Um, to just go through a gruesome schedule and to see like how our team came together at that point was amazing. And like I said, it wasn't just on the court; it was off the court. How guys were watching film together, taking care of each other, and really just, I think, buying into the winning process and understanding and knowing that, hey, we have a really good shot because we're a really really talented basketball team, and it didn't show later on. So I think that was probably one of my favorite memories so far. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, that tournament run was very fun and special. I think last year's team unfortunately didn't hit the potential that we had. I think a lot of that momentum's going to push through to this year, hopefully.
Definitely. I mean, even you've seen it firsthand, up ahead, how guys work this year and how guys communicate. I think it's a whole new vibe. You know what I mean? And that's not to say anything about last year's team, because I love every single one of those guys on our team last year. But like this year is like there's a new like it's a new motto. I mean, it's a whole new ball game. So
Hey Siri, play something improved by Lil Baby. That's all I got to say.
Bowen, I got a question. What's one thing you wish more people understood about being a Division I basketball player?
definitely. I think man, there's a lot. There's a lot because it's so many things. I would definitely say as a Division I basketball player in today's era is it's very, very, very key to stay patient. I think that's a huge thing that you see really, really, really good players that grow in college basketball, maybe for 1, 2, 3, however many years it is. I think those are the guys that you see that took their time, understood their role, understood what they had to do to get better. I think that's something that is very, very important that not a lot of people get to see because it's so much work. It's repetition every single day, whether it's your shot, trying to guard better. You know what I mean? There's so many things, but I definitely would say the biggest thing that I would see is the patience that it does take and the mindset that you have to get through day in and day out at a high level. I think that's something that not everybody gets to see, especially in a program like the Ohio State.
Emphasis on the. I don't know why Nick's smirking up there, but I don't know. Maybe the UNLV cats just do it different. But speaking on patience, one thing I want to give you your flowers for, and trust me, I would tell you if it was any different, is you have probably top 5 work ethic just out of guys I've been around from high school till now. And last year, obviously, redshirt freshman year, you didn't end up getting that, but still didn't, play a ton last season. But, you're always in the gym, always grinding, working on your shot, getting better defensively. I know you were killing it in the weight room this summer. So, there's 3 roses for you right there. For the people out there, what would you recommend, for guys who are, not getting the minutes that they want to just keep grinding and keep working?
Yeah. I think like how you kind of said is like how we kind of been talking about is being patient, man. It takes a lot, because there's a lot of really, really good players out there. And I think for me, not just getting stronger defensively, but also in the weight room and gaining 10, 15 pounds of muscle, I think was huge. But also, man, I think just kind of having that more fight, like having that more will to go out there every day and be like, this is what I want and this is what I'm going to get out of this. I think coming in, like I said, like last year, like you don't know what to expect. You're a young guy. It's like starting high school over as a freshman. So you don't know what to expect. And you don't really know what your role is. You got to figure kind of it out. For some guys, a lot of guys, you don't really see a lot of freshmen play huge minutes unless you're top 5 or you need a replace. You know what I mean? You need a replacement guy for a guy that transferred. But for me, I think, like I said, just understanding my role and getting a year under my belt and wanting and knowing what I want to get out of this season and out of this summer was a huge step into where I want to be now, kind of like my vision. And I think for any young guy that isn't playing, it didn't play their first year, they have to understand like, hey, like this is your path to grown men basketball. Like you're not playing in high school where you can get away with things and you can shoot 20 shots a game and average 40. Like that's not realistic. That's not how it is. So I would say for every young guy, kind of like how we're emphasizing the patience part, is just know your role, be great at that role, and eventually that time will click. If you do what you have to do, something's going to end up clicking, whether it's playing on the floor, outside, you know what I mean? So.
Amen. I love it. And an avid PPP listener who hopefully we're going to get on soon, your former AAU teammate and Nick's former teammate, Keyshawn Big Guard Hall, even though he's slim guard now. He lost like 65 pounds. That's incredible. Shout out you, Keyshawn. Yeah. But he sent in probably 75 to 100 questions on the Instagram thing. I was scrolling for a while, but one that stood out, we'll get one of his in here, is what was your favorite arena or atmosphere that you played in last year, not including anything at Ohio State?
Definitely. But yeah, first off, I'll give props to him, man. He was a heck of a ball player. And I've never seen someone his size do the things that he does. Like, he has a special talent and a really, really good feel for the game. I think he, like you said, credit him for losing that weight, man. He looks great. Pause. But no, he definitely, man, he works. And he's got that kind of like attitude towards it too. Like he's got a little grit to him. I'm sure you've seen that too, Nick, a little bit, just kind of like how he is. But his question with one of the best arenas, man, or the coolest one, I gotta say, and it sucks to say this, I definitely say Indiana. It's just historical. We lost, but it was surreal. It's something like seeing out of a movie. You see so many documentaries and 30 for 30s of that being like a huge arena. And don't discredit places like Duke or Madison Square Garden where we got to play, because those places were amazing and surreal too. But kind of just like being on the court, you saw like great players play, and just like the backdrop and the fans, man, it was amazing, surreal.
Yeah, their fans were ruthless. I remember pregame they were chirping me and Nick, and I'm like, oh my, here we go, here we go.
And I would say it was one of the most interesting games too, because the whole scoreboard almost fell. I know you
Almost
remember.
killed Bryce.
Yeah, man, it was. We almost had a. I thought we were going to postpone the game. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going on? That would have been. It was insane.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know what we're referring to, it was Ohio State at Indiana last year, probably February 2023. And at halftime, teams warming up, and the scoreboard, all of a sudden you just hear a bang, just a loud metal clank. And there's a video, if you go to Twitter, you can look up like Bryce Sensabaugh, Indiana, and our lottery pick, arguably best player on the team last year, 2 feet away from getting hit by like a 4 to 6 foot long, like 30-pound metal. Like it could have killed him. If it hit him on the head, it could have killed him.
Yeah, it was easily like I was like he even was shook after that too. And we're like, man, I don't know. It was if he was 2 feet over, it would have been, I don't know.
Yeah,
I didn't know about that. I did not know about that until right now.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm about to send you the video after. It was nuts, and like it sounded like a gunshot.
It was loud, like it was packed, and you couldn't hear anything because of fans, but like you heard this, like it. I'm surprised it didn't make a dent in the floor. Was what I was shocked by.
Jeez.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna end it, but those Big Ten atmospheres are crazy. Dan, I hope you're prepared. Where you guys might have some battles. Dan got another year next year. Bowen got a couple left. Next season, y'all might have some battles here.
Yeah, that is very true.
I'm definitely excited for it. I know the level from the Pac-12 to the Big Ten is definitely going to be a jump for our guys. So I'm interested to see how it goes, but I'm really excited for my final year to be a unique experience like that for sure.
Ducks don't belong in the snow. That's all I'm saying. Go Bucks. Go Bucks. Keeping it in-house. Here's going to be a fun question for you. Submitted on Instagram by Coach Jake Diebler. He wants to know, and this was emphasized with about 17 question marks and exclamation points. Who is the best shooter in the program, Bowen?
Dave Diddy, you know who the best shooter is.
I don't. That's why I'm asking you.
It is hands down me. And I know I'm going to get backlash from this. I'm going to hear it at practice, but they can look at the numbers. Mostly almost every single time that me and Coach D's have played, it's either been a tie or me coming out on top. He's maybe beat me once or twice, but you know how it is. He's not going to say he lost or anything because that's just how it is. But easily me. I feel like I am the best 110%. As I'm the best shooter. Like there's no question about it. Besides you, Dave Diddy. I mean, you got that title, man.
Yeah. I mean that'd be unfair, but check the numbers, Coach. That's what he's saying. Check the numbers.
Come on, Deebs.
Yeah, no. So to get in now to our NBA season preview, this will be a fun little one to bring on. Thought Bowen would be a great guest for this, seeing he's a big NBA fan and a delusional Thunder fan, just like Dan. So
here we go.
They can bond about that. So we'll go like round table, name our pick, quick little 20 to 30 seconds of why. We're going to go rookie of the year, MVP, surprise, team that you think can make the conference finals that probably aren't a top 4 projected team right now. And then our finals picks and winner. So start off rookie of the year. I guess I'll kick it off. Victor's uber talented. He's the hands-on favorite. But where I'm looking at it, who's going to get the most shots up? Because rookie of the year, they usually just look at the points. They don't care about winning. Having Scoot Henderson, he's the third favorite, close to basically tied for third with Brandon Miller. I just think, Chet is probably going to win. Victor, there's a lot of young guys there to share the rock with. Scoot is going to be the young point guard. If Dame's gone, they're going to run it through him. Could put up 18 and 7. I think he's a sneaky pick.
I'll go before we have some Thunder bias.
I like that.
My pick is actually Chet. I do believe Chet's going to take it. I think Victor is going to have a great career, but I think that his trajectory. Like, people are expecting him to average 25 and 15 his first year. Like, I think there's a little bit too much pressure, and I don't know. I could be completely wrong, and he could average 30 and 12 and just have the best rookie season of all time. But Chet's had a year of watching the NBA, studying the game, and I think I could see him averaging 18, 11, and 2.5 blocks and just have a great season for the Thunder.
I can go next. It's funny, actually, David. I did not put Chet Holmgren down. I also put Scoot Henderson down as my pick. I completely agree with what you're saying. I do believe Damian Lillard will not be on the team at the end of the season. I think he'll get traded somehow, and I think that Scoot becomes the number one option. And to be a number one option as a rookie happens very rarely in the NBA, so I think his numbers will translate. But a player that I'll give you outside of Chet and Scoot, who are my top two, that I think could make a run for it is Jarris Walker of the Indiana Pacers. I think that he could step into a starting role very early, and he's a really good player. We went against him last year. He's one of, in my opinion, he's a big that is translating to the modern NBA. So I think that he's going to have a really good rookie year.
What was the score of that game?
Lost by a few points.
A few? Like how much
It
is
was.
it?
It was also Houston. I think it was 8 or 10. It was like a 5-point game with 3 minutes left.
Oh, I thought it was more. I was being a dickhead. All right, your turn, Bowen.
Oh man, of course I'm gonna have my bias. I'm gonna say Chet, but I mean we already know he's like you said. Nick. He had a great. It was very, I think, beneficial for him to see, like, and watch and see what the NBA is about. I think before he got hurt in that Pro AM with LeBron, I think he showed big signs of improvement with strength and all that. And I think for him to kind of get even more of that under his belt, I think will kind of like skyrocket him into that place. Like, everyone's expecting Wembanyama to be that. If he's not that, then people are going to be like, then this dude's like, what's the point? Because like you said, people are wanting to average 25, 12, all that. But realistically in the NBA, that's very hard to do. But beside those two, I think, and this is a hot take. I really do believe that this guy will step into his role and play well just by watching kind of like college basketball. I think Grady Dick, like, slowly moves in that pool just because he'll play his role. He'll shoot, he'll rebound. Like, he's got a little bit of handles in his bag that he didn't use as much in college, but I think in the NBA he's going to get even more freedom just being the top. Like I said, he was 11 pick, top 15 pick. Like, he's going to get some free range to do some stuff, and he had a pretty good summer in the summer league. So yeah, those are I think Chet will be the front runner, but I think a sneaky pick would be Grady.
Yeah, and I'd be remiss if, since we're doing our sneaky picks, I'll throw a quick one in here. Bryce Sensabaugh, didn't get a play in summer league, recovering from the knee injury, just like Keyshawn, drops a good amount of weight, looking good. Saw him shooting. He was here in town this past weekend. He's looking good, and in Utah there's going to be an opportunity, so I'm gonna go with that. But
he
transferring over,
he looks even stronger too, man. He was real strong for us last year, but I know he's been taking care of his body a lot more, and he seems happy. Feels like he's in a good fit, and I think you pointed out something last year is like he doesn't have to come off. He doesn't have to start and average 25. He doesn't have that expectation, but if he can come off the bench, average good 12, 13, 14 points, I think he has a really good opportunity to be in that running.
Yeah, when you leave Columbus and you don't have those Miss Holtman chocolate chip cookies just sitting there begging you to eat them.
Man, all that.
Yeah, transferring over now to our MVPs. We'll just get right into it. This is a guy who's long overdue. Dallas Maverick. It's probably his turn. Y'all thought I was going with Luka, former Dallas Maverick, 17th best odds. The theme of the show. Jalen Brunson. There's not 16 better players than him in the league.
Ain't no way.
Coming off FIBA run, understanding the game on a higher level. Year 2 in the Thibodeau system. Brought in his boy Dante. He's going to be comfortable. Him, Hart, Arcidiacono. It's the Nova Knicks. So I'm going to go Jalen Brunson. And another sneaky pick I'm going to go is Trae Young. Can put up the points, put up the assists. The Hawks win. I think he has a chance. But, Jalen Brunson's my MVP prediction.
And now our viewers have fast forwarded through that part 30 seconds, and now they're here because they already knew who your prediction was going to be. So, Nick, you're next, right?
Yeah, I'll go. Well, I'll start with my sneaky pick. It's not really sneaky. I think Luka could get one this year. I mean, when you said, Dave, when you started talking, I immediately was like, he's going to say Jalen Brunson. And then you said Dallas Maverick, and I was like, oh, okay. We're back down to reality. And then you hit me with a psych, and then we were back to Jalen Brunson. I think he could, not, by the way, I could think Jalen Brunson could be in the top 10 in that 9th, 10th, 11th spot in the MVP voting. I think Luka could get it this year. He had a down year last year, which is crazy to say, but like the pace that he was on before last year, like especially if they are a top 5 seed in the West, which I know seems hard with all the talent in the West now. But my most confident pick is, barring injury, Anthony Davis. I think if he plays, 70 plus games next season, I think he could average 28 and 13 in a few blocks and then lead Lakers to a top 3 seed in the West. It's like, obviously barring injury, he's had a few consecutive injured seasons. Not a few injuries, a few consecutive injury prone seasons. Yeah, that's my pick, Anthony Davis.
Barring injury, I think that's a terrific pick, but knowing it's Anthony Davis, I wouldn't bet highly on it. I have 2 picks, and I think Bowen actually has one of my picks, so I'll let him describe that more. I'll just briefly say it. I think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's a dark horse for MVP this year. I'll let Bowen describe that one more, but I'm going to go with the prediction that neither of you two said that I'm loving, and that's Jason Tatum of the Boston Celtics. I look at it like this. I think Boston's going to be the best team in the NBA next year. Yes, they have a lot of mouths to feed with Brown and now Kristaps Porzingis, but they lose Marcus Smart. They still have Brogdon and White, but I believe that, and especially in the NBA during the regular season, a lot of guys miss games. And I think this reward really comes down to who plays 75-plus games, who plays at least 72-plus games. And I think Jason Tatum is due for a healthy season. Not only that, he's getting better and better every season. And so I think the Celtics are going to be the best team in the NBA next season, which makes his case that much better. So Jason Tatum's going to be my pick. But you can talk about Shai now, Bowen, because I'll let you have the floor on that one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I got my Thunder bias, but I mean it's not even bias anymore because he's a dog. Come on, there's not 4. I believe he is a top 4 player in the NBA. Like it's no question. It's proven it. He's done everything he can for OKC, and even more now once you get Chet in that in that role, man. They're going to be special, and that will be another question coming up here soon about breakout team. But besides Shai, I would definitely say it's got to be Jokic again, man. He's just, I mean, we saw what happened last year. They didn't give it to him, give it to Embiid. Yeah, he might have had that credit, but then obliterates teams in the playoff. Like it wasn't even close. Like he probably had the best IQ in that run. Not even the run, the whole season. And for him to average, I mean, it wasn't a triple double, close to that, whatever it may be. I think he did in the playoffs. Like it's something special. So, and he's a once in a generation player, and he doesn't even need to be athletic. Like you can be fancy and do the dunks and the passes and do all that, score 40, but he does that, but plays the right way. So, I'd love to say that, like you said before, I think Shai is that dark horse that I think will get a really good shot, but it's going to be hard to beat Jokic.
Yeah, so now breakout teams, I'll speed this one up a little bit. I'm going to give one for each conference. In the East, I have the Hawks. Trae Young is getting hated on. I don't really know why. As a Knicks fan, I still respect him. They have good young pieces. They looked great with Quinn Snyder, challenged the Celtics last year. A full offseason, in his sort of program development. I thought they had a good draft. They have that core coming back of young guys. And Trae Young's that dude. So, they're an 8 seed in the play-in last year. I could see them contending for a top 4 spot in the East this year. And then my ultimate sleeper, and they're out west, the New Orleans Pelicans. If healthy, that team could make a Western Conference, if not an NBA Finals appearance, in my opinion. I mean, when they were healthy, Zion, B.I., C.J. McCollum, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, They have length, strength, and shooting. And
Don't forget
that's
about
the
EJ.
recipe in the modern NBA. So, and a healthy EJ Liddell. So that's my pick.
I'll say my pick was also the Pelicans. I don't know if they could make a finals run, but I'll go a different team out west. I think the Timberwolves can make a big jump. I think a lot of people think that they're just going to be another mediocre team. But I think Anthony Edwards makes a run. I think he could have a top 5 MVP caliber season next season if he's healthy as well. So they're my pick. I think they could do some things. And then in the East, I think the Pacers make a jump that not many people expect. That they think the Pacers are. I'm really high on Tyrese Halliburton, and I think he's a top 10 point guard in the NBA. Like, even I know some of you guys watched the USA games and stuff, but like the way that he plays, like he was another like kind of X factor on that team. I know that they lost, but I like the Pacers in the East to make I'll say a playoff run. I think they can make it into the top 8, make maybe first or second round in the play-in.
All right, I'm going to go with definitely a different approach here. I want to call teams that were really, really bad last year and that I think can go from being really, really bad to play-in potential to potentially winning in the play-in and getting like the 8th seed. I'm not going to go potential breakout. I want to shout some different teams out. So to be this year's Oklahoma City Thunder from last year, who were the second worst record, and then go in there one game away from the playoffs, that type of team. In the East, I have the Orlando Magic. They won 34 games last year, and they were banged up a lot. Bol started a lot of games. They were extremely banged up. They get another year of Paulo Banchero, another year of Franz Wagner. They drafted Anthony Black. I think they have a really good young core. I think they're very slept on. I'm not going to sit here and say that I think they're going to be a top 4 team in the East, but I think they could legitimately get the 8th seed if they stay healthy and Paulo takes the jump from being a 19, 20-point per game scorer to 25, 26. That's a crazy jump in their second year, but I think he's capable of that. And then in the West, I'm not going to go Oklahoma City because I figured Bowen will talk about them. So I'm going to go with the Houston Rockets. They add Ime Udoka as their head coach. And I think 2 veteran signings that people don't want to talk about that are really good are Fred VanVleet and Dillon Brooks. Those are 2 guys that have been on winning teams. Fred VanVleet's an NBA champion. Dillon Brooks has been in the Western Conference Finals. Like these are 2 guys that, people don't want to talk about are going to help. And yes, they used a lot of money to sign them, but they did for good reason. They're 2-way players. They get Jalen Green another year back. They get KPJ. And I think these guys are going to sort of humble this young culture that they had going on. I'm not going to sit here and say that I think they're going to make the playoffs, but I would not be surprised if they're in that play-in situation because those veterans maybe can help out. And I think Ime Udoka is a great coach. I think he's a huge upgrade to Steven Siles. So those are my 2 breakout teams to potentially make the 8th or get an 8th.
Yeah, I don't know if KPJ gonna be seeing the court this year, but if he is, it's a good
I
piece
wasn't
for him.
expecting anyone to. Okay.
We keep it real, bro. He might not be on the court. He might be on the blacktop playing with Henry Ruggs. Bro, if he did what they're accusing him of, that's sickening.
Yes, I agree with you, but I'm not going to speak on it because it's still currently
pending investigation.
I just kind of didn't want to talk about it and kind of just go through it and not bring it up.
Keep it real here.
Here we are.
We keep it real here. Pending investigation.
On a lighter note, talking about basketball, that gives the Thompson twin a good role on that team who could really surprise some people.
It's another thing
also,
I didn't bring up. Ahmed Thompson, a top 5 pick, could potentially have a great season as well. I'm really invested in Houston this year.
Yeah, Houston could be really, really good. Before I get into my picks, I just want to know, Dave, how did it feel when Trae Young basically ripped Knicks fans' hearts out? Like, for you to pick them is crazy. That's what I want to know. Like, he disrespected you guys, and you literally just gave him his props. That's crazy. I just want to know that's.
It hurt. But our starting point guard was Elfrid Payton, and his backup was Frank Ntilikina.
Well,
now we have JB11.
I mean,
JB11. That shit don't fly. That shit don't fly in his garden, man. We're not in the Payton garden anymore. We're in the Brunson garden. JB11.
If you're in the
now
league,
just
you're
gone
nice.
from PG to PG-13. Sorry.
Well, anyways, I'll get to my picks. Like kind of you guys said, I think OKC from having, like you said, the second worst record. I think for them to bounce back and get that play-in game proves that you have a dedicated young core, especially with adding Chet with him being hurt. I think you see a brand new Thunders team, and even better than what they were. I mean, like I said, you got Shea, like that's an obvious. I think Dort is going to play really well for us. I think Giddey, if he plays all season and stays healthy, I think will be a huge factor too. And then, like I said, Chet, if he stays healthy, that is going to be a team that's going to be very, very, very hard to beat because you have the rim protection that you need. I mean, you have really good guards, physical guards, and I just think it's a very young core that's got some really pretty good experience. That has played a lot of guys played. Yeah, I love it. I love to see it, man. But no, I really do feel like OKC is going to have an even breakout year. I mean, it's time. It's due time. After the crappy years with KD and Westbrook, and then they picked it up, and they all left. Like, it's time for them to bounce back. Like, it's going to happen. Like,
I couldn't agree more with you, Bowen. I couldn't agree more with you. It's the best take I've ever heard on the show, 27 episodes in.
All right, so now before we get into finals picks, for the viewers, Dan and I about a month ago, back in Vegas, were having a debate. This man was trying to tell me he wouldn't trade Chet Holmgren and any combination of the other young players, Jalen Williams, Cason Wallace, I forget who it was. But the primary focus was Chet and another young guy for Giannis. So, Bowen, as a Thunder fan,
he said Giddey and Chet.
Yeah, so if you could pair Shea, pair Shea and Giannis together, you have two guys who were all the All-NBA first team last year. You still got, 6-7 years of health, assuming, a God forbid. 2-time MVP, 1-time champ, Depoy, 2-time Depoy. And you're not going to pair that?
No.
Well, my argument. Well, thank you, Bowen. But my argument was the fact that we haven't even seen Chet play a game yet.
Exactly.
But his ceiling
regular
is
season game.
His ceiling is not higher than Giannis.
No.
Are you serious? You not just say that.
But
his ceiling can't be higher than Giannis.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that because Giannis is generational. I would agree with that. But Giddey and Chet, who have already to me, it's just would break up the young core that we already have. That's the reason. I decided to not do that. It wasn't because I don't believe in Giannis. It's because I want to see what this group
together.
Can do
they might not even make an All-NBA ever, let alone an MVP.
Mites. We don't know the future. The future's unknown. That's mites. We don't know.
Yeah, we got to talk about the fact how no one thought the Bucks, when Giannis was a rookie, when he averaged 6.8 points a game, was going to win an MVP and become this Hall of Fame player. And if you look at the Summer League stats, because we're going to do this, all those guys can hoop in the Summer League. They had about the same kind of statistics. If you're looking at it, when Giannis played his rookie year, he averaged 17.6 and about 2 and 1 blocks, one block. If you look at Chet, he averaged about 17, 16.5, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and almost 4 blocks. That's impressive to do, even if it is Summer League, and to go in and to, even if you're banged up, and to go in a season now, I think he has all the confidence in the world. He has the length. He has the size. Maybe he's not as strong enough yet, but neither was Giannis. Giannis took a couple years to get stronger. It's going to take Chet a couple years. It's going to take any guy a couple years. So if you look at all that, he has the potential. I know it's potential. Giannis has proven himself, but you got to give Chet a shot, especially with the young core like Josh and Shea. You have to give them. And if you're a real OKC fan, you love those guys to death. Those guys are going to give all they got. And they're going to, and at some point, I truly believe they are going to bring a chip to us. We are going to get a chip.
I mean, this is just blasphemy. Giannis, top 4 player, top 3 player in the league. You have a chance to pair 2 top 5 players. You take that, in my opinion. And, as the pros say, don't overreact to Summer League. Kevin Knox was dropping 24 on Zion and Mikal Bridges and looking like the next coming of Kevin Durant. So you can't overreact.
Can we give a non-Knicks example?
Yeah, can we get Nick? What are you doing? You're Sam Presti. Phone rings.
Yeah,
Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, let's have Nick in this conversation.
Okay, to be fair, like, okay, they make fair points in the fact of, like, they've seen these guys develop and they're, like, really excited to see what jump Josh Giddey can make. You know what I mean? What jump Chet can make rookie season for Chet. If Shea can get better at, like, can Shea average 30 but also 9 assists? Like, you know what I mean? Like, could that jump be made? However, Giannis has been a top two player in the league the past like 4 years. Now, to be fair, Giannis would have to go to Oklahoma City, which, like, a lot of players don't like to, like, Oklahoma City.
That's a negative move, and he's playing in Milwaukee.
Like, but okay, I will say, like, out of all the, like, stars in the league, I feel like he would care, like, least, maybe besides Jokic, on, like, where he's playing. Like, I'm sure he doesn't care. He also, like, you saw, he did come out and say, like, if a championship has a better opportunity elsewhere, like, I'm gonna take that jump. Like, I want, you know what I mean? Now, with all that being said, I would take Giannis. I'm on the side of David, but I get the bias towards, like, wanting to see the youth develop. But, like, I will say, having a starting lineup of the front three being Shea, Lou Dort, and Giannis, with some no names as the 4 and the 5.
Jalen Williams, runner up in Rookie of the Year, is definitely not a no name, but go.
That's what, Dan, you're proving my point. Jalen Williams, Lou Dort, Shea, Giannis. Oh my God.
It'd be a good team, but I don't think we'd win at all. I don't think so. I think there's
no
two
one,
good teams
no
in the West.
Shea and Giannis.
I don't
pick
think
and roll. No one's
I don't think
not
we'd
year one.
Like,
Not
to,
year
like,
no
to
one's
me, in
not
order for me to do that trade, I would have to feel beyond confident to get to the NBA Finals. I don't feel beyond confident.
So you think? But are you beyond confident that this core is going to win you a chip?
In like 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
Because Giannis in 4 or 5 years is still going to be a top 5 player.
He's what, 32, 33 at that point? And his game is not exactly going to age him very well. He's very, of course, driving the basket. Like, once he gets 33, 34, how much is that going to translate? You know what I mean? Like compared to...
But you get him for 6 years.
I just think once Giannis hits that dip, though, it's going to dip. And I would rather see this crew play it out and build chemistry and go with that. That's my argument.
And I also
let's get to our finals predictions after Bowen goes.
And I will say the last little point. I will say I think you've seen how NBA teams are when you have multiple ball dominant players. If you really believe it, Giannis is a ball dominant player. He's a drive type of guy. He wants the ball. He wants to make those big plays, and so does Shea. So I really don't like. We've seen some teams do it well, like Kyrie and LeBron. Like, we've seen that, but there's been a couple other teams that you've seen guys try to make big trades and things haven't worked out as well. Like, you see DeJounte Murray and Trae Young, like, wasn't the best move. Now, I'm not saying that they're Giannis or Shea, but, like, I
think that happens to the Suns this year.
And I agree. Like, you just don't, like, things don't, like, we saw Kevin Durant, James Harden in Brooklyn. Like, that didn't work out. Like, so that's why I say, like, to have a young group of guys that understands what each individual does best and they can buy into that system, which the NBA needs, especially in today's game, that's when I think you have something special, and I think OKC can really provide that.
All right, Bowen, if you want to start us off now and give your NBA Finals prediction for this year.
Finals prediction, man. I'm going to say – I won't say OKC because I picked them a lot tonight. And let's be honest, let's be realistic. It's going to take some time. I really believe that this is the year that LeBron gets back. I think LeBron and them are going to get there. And I'm going to say –
Good Nick, bro.
This is hard, man. The East Conference is like – man, I don't know. I want to say Miami, but at the same time, I'm like, if they do trade for Dame, I think they're giving up too much. But I will say, if they don't trade, I think it's going to be LA versus the Heat again. I really do believe that.
All right, Nick, since you're holding up that jersey, why don't you go?
I got Lakers, Celtics. That'd be a crazy finals.
Yeah, it would be.
I think the Lakers win it in 6. I think LeBron and AD have a 2020 type season this season. I think they're like top 3 in the West. obviously, again, barring any injury. But we just saw last season, we saw a LeBron James who needed surgery on his foot drop 40, 10, and 9 and got better. Kept Austin Reeves, got center depth, got a Cam Reddish who could break out, Torian Prince, great role guy, and got Gabe Vincent, got playoff experience. Him and D'Lo are going to battle for that PG role, and I think they're going to be really good next season. And obviously, I think the Celtics just I know they lost Marcus Smart, but I think getting Kristaps is a big thing. I just don't know if Kristaps is a winner yet.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much he helps in that regard. I could see some Celtics beef this season though, with the Jaylen Brown getting paid a lot, so he feels like he might I could see like a rough start for them. I know they started really hot last season. Yeah, man.
I think LA too. You forget too that LA, if AD does go down, you still got a young big Jackson Hayes that can come in and block shots and catch lobs, like a guy that like anticipating to play, like he wants to play. So I think LA's got a great shot.
No Cincinnati bias there.
No Cincinnati bias, none whatsoever.
With a Christian Wood signing as well. People didn't see that. I mean,
all right, Dan, I expect something more sensible from you if you want to take over.
Yeah.
Okay, before we do that, I just want to say last episode we had a Cowboys-Jets
yes, and the Cowboys are the best team in the NFL right now, and the Jets won without Aaron Rodgers, and that was pre-Rodgers injury. Healthy Rodgers, the Jets and Cowboys are both 2-0 right now, or no, they couldn't be because they just played, but they're probably the best two teams in the league because that would have been a fucking show in Dallas.
You're forgetting about the Bengals. Joe Burrow's hurt, but we've always started
0-2 right now.
The Bengals are 0-2.
The Cowboys might be the Super Bowl favorite right now.
Oh yeah, they definitely.
I mean, I don't know what the odds are, but they have to be. That defense, Micah Parsons.
I guarantee you, Dak gets hurt. He's
Damn.
I don't want that to hurt. I don't want that to happen, but I guarantee you, it's gonna happen.
Well, even if it does, we have Trey Lance in the shadows, ready to go. But obviously, that happen. With that being said, I'm going to give more of a sensible prediction. Hopefully, here in the East, I have the Boston Celtics as well. I talked about them a lot today, so I'm not going to back away from that. I think they're going to be the best regular season team and make a finals. I think they are due. My Western Conference team is actually kind of a hot take. I think that this team last season, every year over the past few years, they've been a top 3 team in the West. I think it's been the last 2 to 3 years. Last year, they had a significant big man out, which affected them in the playoffs a lot. I mean, they couldn't win without this player. And they added a guy in Marcus Smart who is going to completely change this culture. I have the Memphis Grizzlies making it to the finals. Steven Adams, they were like 35-8 with him on the court and below 500 without. This might sound like a ridiculous take, but Marcus Smart is going to completely change that defensive identity. They're going to be a top 3 defensive team. They're going to be a top 3 seed in the West again. They were the last 2 seasons. And if everybody can stay healthy with Ja and Bane and Smart and Jaren Jackson Jr. and Steven Adams, that starting 5 is extremely good. If they can have a couple guys come off the bench, Luke Kennard hit shots. I know every year in the NBA, there's a couple teams that you think are going to get there and they don't because of injuries. I think Memphis stays healthy. And we could be looking at this prediction and going, that I caught. So Celtics Grizzlies is going to be my NBA Finals. And Marcus Smart gets to play Boston in the finals and reunite there. That would be pretty fun.
You know Jaw's out half the season, right? Is that built into your prediction?
I'm fully aware, yeah. They're going to make the playoffs.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I don't know if you remember, but when Ja Morant was out, I believe it was a season or 2 seasons ago, they had nearly the same record. They can win.
Yeah, I'm not saying they missed the playoffs. They're making the playoffs, but
they're better without him. He's a complete defensive liability.
All right, well, let's get to it here. I'm torn on 2 teams.
Okay.
For the West, I'm torn on 2 teams. I was gonna say Los Angeles Clippers. You know, fully healthy the last few years. I've thought
that's the problem, though. They're never fully healthy.
Fully healthy the last few years. Probably would have been them. I'm not gonna go the Clippers just based off that, and it just doesn't seem like it's meant to be. So out west, I mean, you're pairing two of the smartest minds in the game. I think this move is extremely underrated for what it's going to do. That whole locker room. I mean, you got Draymond Green, Chris Paul, Steph Curry, Steve Kerr in the same locker room. I mean, just the mental aspect alone. You know, they're going to have to gel, figure out how they play together. But, I mean, I have no doubt Chris Paul's one of the smartest players of all time. Steph, Draymond, they'll figure it out. Can never count them out. So I'm going to go with the Golden State Warriors. And out east, I mean, I like the move that the Celtics make. I think the Kristaps move also goes extremely underrated. But Kristaps has a losing record against a certain team since he's been traded from there. The Celtics went 1-3 against this certain team.
Fast forward.
They played the Heat. They played the Heat basically closer than anyone else in the East last year until the Heat let off the gas and Boston came back and then lost by 35 at home. You know, camaraderie is everything. And just like we were talking about the Warriors, Chris Paul, Steph, Draymond, you got 4 former college teammates who won 2 natties together. You know, Josh Hart, gritty, rebound, plays like he's 7'1". You know, Dante DiVincenzo brings in element that Obi top, and, you know, love Obi, think he's going to do great in Indiana, but Dante can put on the floor, play defense, shoot. Hart put on the floor, play defense, shoot. Barrett looked, I mean, Dan, I know you're watching them Canada games. Barrett looked like a completely different player. Drew Hanlon must have had him and Jason Tatum like swap blood because he was looking phenomenal. Julius Randle, if he can do what he does in the regular season in the playoffs, I mean, he's all NBA. He's top 15 player 2 of the last 3 seasons. Mitchell Robinson, top 3 player at the rim, offensively and defensively. Bench has good depth. Isaiah Hardenstein, gritty backup center.
No way.
And you're gonna have the reigning MVP, Jalen Brunson. I mean, he's too strong for some guards to be on him. Other guards he blows by. He shoots the 3, finishes at the rim, he passes, he plays defense. This team's underrated. Tom Thibodeau has them playing defense. He's one of the only coaches in the NBA who players might actually fully buy in and listen to. Because, you know, NBA, it's full of pros. But Thibodeau has that locker room under control. They're going to surprise some people. And we're going to get a Knicks-Warriors finals. Chris Paul and Steph Curry can't hold Jalen Brunson's jockstrap. Knicks in 7. We're partying like it's 1972. I'm on cloud 9. And we clip this, and I look like Thanos. I'm a visionary.
I can't believe that you talked about a championship and mentioned Isaiah Hartenstein.
I was about to mention the exact same thing.
One team.
Literally.
See, that's the difference. You Laker fans, Thunder fans, you think about one player. You think about 2 players. It's not 15 players. It's the New York Knicks. 1 through 15. Ryan Arcidiacono is just as important as Jalen Brunson.
But your team takes some bad shots. Let's be realistic. Julius Randle takes terrible shots.
Yeah, and if we can get regular season Randle, trust me, I have a horrible we're like a couple that's been broken up 17 times throughout college. Like, I'm a frat boy, he's a sorority girl. Like, we don't mesh. Like, you know, one game he looks like an MVP, the next game like he's shooting 1-footers contested over Jaren Jackson Jr. Like, what are we doing? But if we can get regular season Randle, if he can buy in and figure it out, listen to the Podcast P episode. But on Podcast P, he said he hasn't watched film until like this offseason. So he's finally taking himself seriously, rehabbing, eating right, watching film. We could see a different Randle.
I think you broke up
there. But
yeah, you broke up.
I'm kind of glad we didn't hear what you said.
Yeah, same. I heard a lot of ifs
Knicks in 7.
in that statement.
Knicks in 7.
A lot of ifs.
Yeah, and there were a lot of ifs in that Giddey trade, man. If this, if that. Shit,
So-
if I get a few what ifs, I might be, dating Olivia Rodrigo. Who knows?
Out of all your options, you chose her.
Well, I think
I
that has
was
a better
blasted.
likelihood than the Knicks making the NBA Finals.
I was blasting the Sour album earlier, so it was the first thing in my head.
Did you hear what Dan said?
Yeah, Dan, I appreciate that's love. Like, Dan knows my game. Like, game respects game, but like,
Hey, bro.
game does respect game. So I appreciate that, Dan. But yeah, I think that's a beautiful place to leave off. If you guys made it this far, appreciate it. This can be a fun episode.
We really appreciate you if you've made it this far. You guys are true PvP fans if you've made it this far. After some of the crazy stuff we've all said.
Real ones made it this far.
Yeah.
Appreciate everyone listening. Bowen, obviously, appreciate your time a ton.
Guys, thank you guys for having me on. I look forward to hopefully maybe one day being back on, and we can have more
Absolutely.
about how the Knicks are still terrible.
Come see me in June 2024, but other than that, Knicks in 7. And as always,
Peace.
PPP out.